Hello, everybody. My
That's
name
me to continue?
is
Okay.
Maya Trochimczyk, and I would like to welcome all the poets here today. It's the 23rd of May, Sunday afternoon, very lovely Sunday afternoon, and we have a great feature today, Nancy Dougherty, and we are the Village Poets. This is our logo, and we've been doing poetry in Bolton Hall Museum in Tujunga, and sometimes the McGroarty Art Center also in Tujunga for over 10 years. We published our 10th anniversary anthology very recently, and we now doing things on Zoom because the museum has been closed for a year, and we just had to manage the best we can. This, however, gave us a chance of bringing in poets from outside our immediate vicinity in Los Angeles and environs, and we can have poets from Northern California, such as Nancy. So we're very happy to have Nancy with us, and she will read beautiful poetry, half an hour of poems afterwards. But first, we'll start with some open mic readers. So I think our first open mic reader is Shauna Sweetich, which I have to find and unmute Shauna. Let me see, where is this mute switch? Oh, I have asked to unmute.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shauna. I live in Northern California. I am a friend of Nancy Dougherty. We are in a writing group together that's been hanging together for a long time. So I'm here to support her, and it's fun to share a couple of my pieces. I was an RN for 35 years.
So something happened.
I
The
can't
sound
hear.
went out. Oh. Oh, she froze. Where is she? Uh-oh. I think the long distance though doesn't always work so well. So we have to, we'll go then to Scott Galasso, and then we'll come back to Shauna when the technical difficulty is resolved, okay? So let's have Scott now with his poems.
Okay, this is called Gratitude for Gaia. Life's a short song, a blink in Ursa Major's eye, the pianissimo leap of neap tide, or the irresistible wave, or a storm-swelled stream ballooning to river, or an alpine peak, paper cut sharp, scraping a cyan sky, until sunset rains in fire, until it dims to mauve, to end in darkness. Treasure it all, every green cliche of grassland, every grain of barley, every crystal bit of sand. And if clouds occasionally make us melancholy, or rich brown earth muddies our shoes, consider it the fare paid for a planet's gift, until the stars we wish upon call us home.
Nice.
Beautiful, lovely, really nice. So we heard from Scott Galasso, and now we're going back to Shauna, who miraculously reappeared. And then
My internet is not all that great, so I hope I don't freeze up.
that's all right. We're
Okay,
glad to have you back.
I'll just jump in and see what happens. Okay, this first poem is called Catatonic. And as I said, these are some around my nursing work. 12-hour shift completed, 12 hours of flitting room to room, a wingless bird, stopping only to peck, peck, peck at the computer before flying off to the med cart, the dressing cart, the pantry, grabbing clean linen, calling the doctor, giving a shot, a pill, a tray of food, helping someone out of bed, giving hope, giving answers, talking, teaching, assessing, rushing room to room, hour after hour.
Whoa.
Finally, I pull into the dark driveway, cut the engine and close my eyes. I feel the weight of my bones, the throbbing legs and feet. As the car door swings open, our cat springs onto the jam, demanding to be picked up. I cradle him high on my chest, bury my face in his long white fur, and pet him with both hands, lost in the deep vibration of his throaty purr.
Nice.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Very nice.
Do I have time for another, or should we just
Just
go
do
on?
another because you're the first timer here. So let's do
Okay.
another.
Thank you. This next one is called American Sunset. Like the plastic bag scene in the movie American Beauty, my patient's hands flutter and spin in the air, artful and lovely. As IV tubes fly between forearm and morphine pump, I touch his shoulder and bend to his ear, tell him he's going on a journey today. Alone, no family, no bedside vigil. Hour after hour, I bear witness until his body goes colorless as salt and just as still. 87 years sundowned by disease and dementia, but no tears, no prayers, no final words for him. A mother's child, grandfather, war veteran. One last glimpse of his kindly face as we zipper shut the body bag, slide the load onto the gurney, away to the morgue, the crematory, tissue and bone of no further use, whirling into ash.
Mm.
Wow,
Ooh,
Wow.
that's a
very
experience.
nice.
Very strong piece.
All right, let's do another open mic because people are still coming. So let's
Do you want me to do a short one? That's the second one. It's a short one.
Okay, Scott. All right, so Scott, one more poem.
Okay, so this is called Bliss. Not lost in remembrance, not ruminating on what might be. Here, now, wrapped in silence, aware of heartbeat, blood pulse, gesture of air, its sweetness after rain, a solar benediction of warmth caressing skin, a hula sway of palm fronds, a Maxfield Parrish kiss of light, the shimmer of its glow. Beside she who enables and is part of me. Tomorrow is a rumor, hidden as rings in trees.
Mm.
Very nice. Very nice.
Very nice.
you.
Very
Thank
lovely
you.
poems. All right, so how about Joe? Do you want to do one now before the featured?
I'd like to do one.
Who's that?
It's Margaret.
Oh, me, I'd like to do one.
Margaret Rooney. Okay, Margaret.
Was
Joe,
that
you
for-
Okay.
wait.
Let me get it. Okay. A wild rain in the drench of night, swept with dark and weeping rain. A wild turkey tucked high in the bishop pines calls out to something in the wet air. Here I am, here I am. Come here to where I am. It repeats like wind, moves lightless as shadows, a noise weighted with the notion of want, propagated in the sway of branches. I pray aside and slantwise too for sunlight and redemption, circle transformations and sorrows, crying in the night after my own broken image, in the light swindled torrent where sound turns upon itself and I am the only ear. Hell and its superintendent keep me from swimming to the top of the storm, where I know an ocean of sunlight lays waiting, where I am the blue of the sea, the color of sky stillness, green of the forest glade, the grass blade that scissors air, a whisper in the keening wind, where I hear myself hum over a peach heavy in my hand, with its echo of light-dabbed orchards and dank earth, caught up in the breadth and largeness of things I don't understand, listening through an insistent rain to the plaintive call of a wild turkey, hieratic and sacred in the pines. I'm thinking that last stanza is superfluous.
We can tell because we're just listening. I think it's all very beautiful. It was a really nice poem. We enjoyed it.
I'm judging, taking it in, Margaret.
But the thing is, when you read your poem in public to people listening, you
Yeah.
actually notice things with the poem that there's like, oh, I shouldn't put this line here.
That's right. That's
No,
it
I
exactly.
change this word, right? You edit as you read. But the funny thing, you read it to yourself silently, you don't see these things. It's the
No,
loud,
you don't.
the
That's
voice,
right.
the voicing of a poem that makes it become real in a sense, right? And then it's so
Right.
real in your voice, that's when you can see what you can cut, change, improve. So that's why readings are so important, even
Yeah.
without the workshops, because every artist can edit the work as they speak. All right, so thank you
But
very much.
can I just say, Margaret, I just really like the way you came back to the turkey at the end. Otherwise, you have to include the turkey at the end. because that-
Okay, I do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
good. Oh,
because
that's
it
good.
rounds it out and brings you back to the theme.
Uh-huh.
Oh, thank you. Thank
In
you.
my experience for editing, usually I have to throw out the first stanza because it's like spinning wheels in the mud, before you take off. It's the
Oh,
the
that's true.
ground from
Yeah.
which it starts. So often it's not necessary in the poem. I found it very rarely though. The last stanza have to go. So Alice has a point here.
Well, this is good to know. Good to know. Thank you all.
Very nice. So now we have so many people on the mic. It's already 4:47. I think it'll be good to introduce our feature, and Joe will wait. You'll be the first after the feature, okay?
Yes.
And that's good. All right. And so please, everybody, turn off your mics right now so we don't have interruptions for the feature. And we're very happy to have Nancy Dougherty, who has authored 3 chapbooks of poetry, Tape Recorder On, Memory in Salt, and Levee Town and Silk, which is a collaborative work. And she published poetry in a whole long list of journals, which is published on our blog in her bio. She holds a Bachelor of Arts in History from Northwestern University and Master of Public Administration from Sonoma State University. She lives in Sebastopol in Northern California. And also we have 2 sample poems posted on our blog on villagepoets.blogspot.com. And the poems are Was a Turtle, The Boy and Bigfoot. So these ones you can read in your leisure afterwards. But right now, we're very, very happy to have with us Nancy, who will share her poetry and her insights into the poetry world. Please welcome Nancy.
Thank you so much, Maya, for your lovely introduction, and also for everyone of Village Poets for inviting me tonight to read. I've been looking forward to it and just feel honored and happy to see friends here too. In thinking of what to read tonight, I thought I would read some poems that reflect my most recent experience these last 2 years of serving on the Sonoma County Civil Grand Jury. And it's, for those of you who may not be familiar with this entity, there's actually a civil grand jury that's convened in every single county of California that serves for 1 year, 19 jurors who provide oversight of their local government, cities and county, and investigate matters of interest to them, and then write reports. And so here's like what a report will look like. And I enjoyed it so much. And I think it's just, I think it's really helps our democracy. And so I chose poems that just relate in some way to this. And also poems, I was thinking part of the grand jury's function is to look at how county government follows its own procedures and rules and regulations, and then looks for facts, and that's really important. The reports are meant to be neutral and non-political. And so I thought that broadened my theme to a couple of poems about games and rules. And so Anyways, I'll begin with the poem called Little League Plays. Staccato sounds of cleats over the pavement, sun beating down on sleeveless arms, aluminum bleachers. Foul ball, umpire calls, and more crunch of cleats, slush of ice and styrofoam cup. 1 out, strike. Let's go, kid. Mother's talk of the snack bar, its hot dog rack, never cleaned. Oh, gross, the owner wouldn't sanitize. Good eye, kid, strike. He's a piece of work, the owner. Hey, kid, what do you say? All right, leather smack of ball, clapping hands slice, wire mesh shadows. Nice hit. The next poem, catching one thing. I also wanted to share, I may be trying to do too much, but that's what I kind of do sometimes. Share some collages that I've made over the years. And I think I just love to collage. And I think in a way its approach sort of gets reflected in my poetry in some way. So this next poem is called Findings of Fact. And I hope you can see some of this.
Yeah.
Sailing on the bay, my brother and I one Saturday hit the doldrums hard. Waiting for the wind, we drift and discuss politics. Clinton, the Republicans, and the finding of fact, its merits and arguments, legal nuances, skip and float the jetsam of controversy. While sleep talking at the helm, the silent ebb is at work. Now too close to the bridge, the golden, not Richmond, the reverie snaps. A line of black birds breaks the horizon, and through the haze, a tugboat flips up like a card. We rev the motor. Suddenly, the wind stirs. The sails fill. We work the sheets, strong, healing. The angle grows less and less between water and us, between truth and untruth. Thank you. Okay. And this next poem is called Nature's Takeover. And I've just enjoyed kind of thinking of different poetic forms and the different arts that I've enjoyed doing over the years. And this poem I call a totem poem. It's just words all in a line. And it reminds me of this sculpture I made. I've done a number of sculptures in ceramic made that are totems. I think that's the best way to describe them. So, nature's takeover. Squirrels, swallows, propeller plane, Darwin phased. Yip, yap, dropped leaves, steps hushed. Sky blue, sky pale with blue, misty in white, cooler than weightless. Hume exhumed, Wittgenstein blind, Saturn, Mars, gypsies, falling stars, late grass push, lusher, loser, basket hoarding, catching acorns, south-sided moss, pies, squirrel pie, crow's eye, face mask. Let's see. Okay. This next poem is about a card game that I played with my niece, Trini, who was at the time probably 10 years old, no older than 10. And we played it in a very hot morning. And it was one of the most frustrating games I've ever played. You'll hear why. How to play exploding kittens. Morning heat as I deal out the cards, 5 each to Trini and me. The balance is long gone. I said, too hot for morning. Where are the rules? Do not read for rules, say the instructions. My niece gets us, plays the hand dealt, her stash packed with boogie boards and the big green crocodile wedged between two laser points, waiting for the waves. Nope and skip this Suzuki. My turn to flip. How the day floats into a lake. Feelings were its current. Diffusion cards too. There were pairs I never found. Ever. It's really fun, my mother'd say, before we'd pile in years ago. Car loaded and beach ready to cruise through humid summer doldrums. And I have a collage to go with this next piece. Next piece is called 100%, and it's about my dad, whose birthday, he passed away way too long ago. But his birthday was this month earlier, and I always think of him. And this collage really kind of reminds me of him. You know, someone, he was an attorney and did environmental work and corporate law and a trial lawyer too. So it captures his, you know, he liked to read and talk about things. 100% for my father. There would be no return visits where hugs and greetings, receiving arms, a special dinner of lobster, and a focus upon you. Sit down, let's hear it all. Every little detail with intent and rapt eyes and a buzz in the air. Gossip shared, work news always, a slow setting in and reshambling of furniture on the patio. He will cough the same as always, even without a cigarette in hand. That same hand will dangle at the same angle of the armrest of the leather chair. There will be some baseball game in the background, the Boston Globe at his side, perhaps a brief. And if you ask too much, you will hear every last detail of the case. And as he is talking somewhere, the conversation will weave back to something different and then to you. And you will know he's listening. And now you have his attention 100%. Okay, this next poem, let me just find the collage. Okay. Oh, sorry. I have these, I thought I had these in order, and yes, I found it now. This poem is called To Escape the Everyday. And this is, I hope you can see this a bit. It's someone with a sheep's head. There's someone playing music. It's just sort of a bit of a surreal scene. To escape the everyday and all that's missing, gone to memory. I go to an outdoor cafe, find a seat where nearby a fountain trickles, then gushes, gallivanting, fast or slow, expounding or thundering fulsome. Someone's asking someone, what's your sign? Farther away, more white sound, more the dry backdrop of motorcycles roar. The swish of Priuses rush by, envelop the round tables grouped under magnolias, potted succulents. The umbrellas flared for sun protection, for the onslaught of masked patrons. Night, even further away. the distance like a diminished circle towards the black, focusing in to behold the scenes of another type of drama, the inside story of another day and circumstance, shrouded by dreamy image. Scrape of chairs, the tables empty, and pigeons hobble off to their eaves. I prepare to leave too, wishing for some clue, some sign for decipherment. This next poem is called Arcs of Argument. And this picture collage to me has sort of a cohesiveness to it in some classical images that are the foundation of so much of our philosophy and ideas for discourse, Socratic discourse, of course, which seems to play into argument and debates. So, arcs of argument. To reach the conclusion of argument, past its conclusion, without finishing the thought of your interrogator, you know where it is going as soon as you take your seat. Sometimes there is no mystery. No mystery to a story already writ, and then it's up to a priestess to guide the arc of narration past the plot and into the sphere of sun glare. Dismiss the myth of Icarus. Give it the fluttering wings of a monarch butterfly, able to return and to return magically, even over the growl of the workers' jigsaws who are bored and sad too. They serve as a backdrop. Eternal, majestic spires of cathedrals soar, as do notes ring within to the highest vaults, to touch, to bring to the highest vaults of the old masters of song, those acclaimed heroes, Beethoven's brethren, to touch yet the ceiling of your glory. And going back lunar arcs and centuries, back to the high polyphony of fluttering thought, origins of argument, the Scotch hoppers, though unsung. So I have 2 more poems to read. I just have to get one poem is over there. I'll be right back. Ooh.
Now that you're looking for a poem,
You know, I may not be able to find it. I've cleaned things up too well.
No, you can read later after we do some open mic. You can
Oh,
read later.
I would love to do that. That's
Yeah, it would
perfect.
be nice. You don't have
Okay.
to stress about it, and you can add some more because we have time.
Okay, good. This last poem is called The Old Woman's Gale, and it's based actually on a true news story of a Egyptian strongman who lived in Cairo, and he's like, excuse me, an urban legend who was known to eat glass, and he could pull trucks with his teeth. So that's part of this poem. Old Woman's Gale. This time of year, she screams over the countryside, dusty, gravelly, tosses up the sands around the pyramids at Giza, throws grains into camels' eyes, pushes heavy clouds. Next, the heavy news, repairs on the train systems and summer electrical use. All is calm at Al Azur Park, sun setting, the flocks of birds silhouetted orb of sun crisscrossed, darkening, red, orange, purples, envelop rooftops. Somewhere, the pharaoh is eating glass and nails as call to worship marks 6 o'clock. Thank you.
All right, let everybody unmute
Very
themselves.
nice.
It
very
was
nice.
so lovely. I really admired, and the collages were so nice too.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks so much.
great.
And the poem, it's not a description of a collage, but it's a parallel to it. So you can see it's related, but it's not exactly the same. I really like the
Oh,
antique
thank
one.
you. It's
Reminded me of the stores of antique vases, in Greece, when you go, the souvenirs are full of those vases with these black and red figures. So it's a very prominent image in nation Greece. Very nice, very
Yeah.
interesting. Okay, so
Oh,
after
thank you, everyone.
Mhm.
Very easy to relate to, Nancy.
Yeah,
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.
great job.
Very nice.
I would like to ask a question to Nancy.
Yes.
Yeah, I wanted to know, it seemed from what you said, it seems that you do the collage of the sculptures on their own and the poems on their own, and then you just find the association afterwards. Is that true?
You know, this is the first, I've been thinking about my poetry and art forms and for this reading. And it's like when you have to read a poem and you realize how it's going to sound, I've just been thinking differently about the association of my collages. And these poems, these collages, I just picked out to go with the poems. So they're not directly connected. It's more associative.
Yes, and you do it afterwards. You don't do the poem for the collage or the collage for the poems.
No.
Yeah.
But what I find is because I'm the same person doing all these things, there's a lot of connections.
Of course. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Very lovely. Yeah.
Good question.
Any more questions or comments for Nancy? Do we have anybody else? Okay, so right now Casabella Wilson has to leave soon, so we'll have Casabella read next, and after Casabella we have Joe. Then I think I'll put Judy. You will be after Joe. Okay, so the first three, and if anybody afterwards, when you want to read, just click on this hand icon so I can see it on your picture. It's easy for me to then know who is going to be coming to read. So let's.
What icon is that? What icon?
Casabella.
You go to
That's the little
reactions.
hand icon you have to click.
Raise hand one,
Reactions. You have reactions.
Yeah.
Post.
and then raise
Click on
hand.
reactions,
Yes.
And then if you click, you can raise hand. And then you raise hand. I see the hand in the corner of your icon on my screen. So that's what it is. And
Oh,
for
that-
reactions, I could put a heart for loving the poetry of Nancy.
I don't know what
Yeah.
it-
Okay, you see it? It's at the bottom of your screen on the right. You have reactions with a face, smiley face. And if
Oh, I see.
yeah,
Yeah.
if you click on it, you have a choice. You can say hooray, or you can
Oh,
cry, or you can
oh,
laugh,
yeah.
or you
I
can
want to put love.
stuff, or just raise your hand. So raising
Oh,
your hand
that's fun.
read.
I
It's
had
a-
no idea.
Actually, if you click on participants, there's a place on the right side that says raise hand.
Oh, I had no idea.
Okay, so now we
Yeah,
have-
that's the easiest thing to do, Alicia. Yeah, to raise hand with the participant, because then everybody can see it.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh,
Very good.
okay.
So let's go to Casabella now, and let's have everybody mute themselves again, including me, right? So I can hear.
Thank you so much, Maya, for doing this now. Rick was writing to China yesterday because they asked him if today he could introduce the conference. We usually go to a conference every 2 years in China. So last year there was no conference, and they're having it this year, but by Zoom, as we all do things. So he has to be the first speaker and introduce and give a little retrospective. And he chose, when the first time I went to China in 2002, I wrote what I called my 100-line poem made up of haiku about the trip. And so he thought it would be fun for him to introduce 5 of them in his talk to give a feeling of how it is for us. And so he'll play a shakuhachi, and I'll read you 5 Shanghai ku, so it will be short. Numbers fill the air. 100 mathematicians flying to China. Honking horns, we're here. Join the general exuberance. Nightfall, Shanghai style. Circles intersect. Mathematicians love good food. Round plates, round tables. 17 courses, combinatorics of more beer. One more for good luck. Inspiring city. I've always loved Chinese poems. Teach me Shanghai ku. Thank you. Thank
Is the conference now?
Great to see you.
We have to leave early because he has to fly to China on Zoom.
On Zoom, zooming off to China.
That's less
Not bad.
expensive, Capabella.
What was that?
It's less expensive.
Yes, right.
Is it morning? Is it morning there?
It is morning.
It will
Yes.
be, yes,
Yes.
it's early morning.
Yeah.
It's tomorrow morning, yes?
Yes, it's tomorrow
24
morning there.
Starts
So it's,
Monday.
he's giving the first introduction to the talks at the beginning of the day.
That's so cool. Very nice. Thank you for premiering those for us. It was very nice. And really
Thank
brought
you,
us
Diane.
Thank you.
with a bunch of mathematicians to have more beer. 17 combinatorial around the round table, right? Very nice. Very lovely. Thank you so very much, Cathabella.
Thank
All
you
right, so the,
for being so
and Rick, so enjoy your trip, Rick. Now we'll have,
enjoy your trip, Rick.
All right.
now we'll have Joe DiCenzo.
Thank you, everyone. Since I'm all vaccinated, I'm finding more and more places to go without my mask, and it's putting me in a very romantic mood. I've titled this one, The Lover's Will. You've come to me at long last. Am I familiar to you? You've known no other all your life, and now you've come at long last. Do you see me here before you, balanced and composed, convinced of your identity? You're all this world knows, and yet you are exceptional and rare. I've been waiting patiently, keeping time with the beat of my heart. I lost count some time after infinity, but am willing to start again. What good is eternity? I will forget the length of my wait if you will overlook the burden of your journey and join me now on this fluorescent lake. We'll become part of its tranquility, its radiance, this motionless body, serene and mollifying. We'll think no further on what we may have tomorrow and release all hope, for all our desires are now possessions. We'll look to the stars, not as our dreams, but as ornaments to decorate our endless sky. And I'll hold you until there is no line between bliss and agony, until the boundaries of fury and fascination become so blurred There will be no way to tell if wrath or rapture tears me from your coveted embrace and ushers my ascent to heaven. I promise you 2 full harvest moons, one in each eye, that shall never grow dim, and I bequeath all the tomorrows to the unmatched lovers, that they might find their own today.
Okay, so the next poet is Judy. Judy, it's your
Okay.
turn now.
Okay, this piece is called I'm Waiting for You. I am voluptuous, full with rounded curves in all the right places, firm where I need to be, but soft, warm, and ever willing to engulf you in practiced pleasure at your whim. I derive sensual pleasure in the feel of fine fabrics fit snug to my curves, silky smooth satins, suedes, velvets, treasure the sensation of bare skin on mine, arms, legs, holding, resting. I have a particular predilection for posterior parts, especially derrieres, all sizes and genders, firm, rotund, fleshy, or flat, pressed solidly against me. Come, let me comfort and calm you in stress, in joy. Surrender yourself to my sensual center. I'm here as always, wanting to share my gifts, while you assuage my avid appetite for ass. I'm waiting. Come to me. You know I'm your favorite chair.
That's great.
Punchline. Wow, very good punchline. All right.
Yeah, perfect.
Bringing some humor to the reading. The next reader is Alicia Viguer Espert. So please welcome Alicia.
Thank you. Could I share the screen?
Okay, let me
Okay.
switch to multiple participants can share. Yes, you can share now.
Okay, great. Okay, because I wanted to read a couple. They are kind of complementary. One is about shadow, the other one is about light. And just in case, I wanted to comment on one of the characters here. Butades was a potter, and according to Pliny, his daughter Cora was in love with this Greek guy who was going to war. And the last night, she drew his profile on the cave. And according to Pliny, the father then created a sculpture. So that was the beginning of painting. Anyway, and it was, I wrote it after a chapter in the book of my nephew in Spain, which is a painter and a poet. Shadows. Shadows appear at the same time light illuminated the pupil and never left a sense. When Pliny imagined Butades' daughter tracing her beloved's profile, projected by candlelight on the wall, just before his departure, he gave birth to an image to alleviate absence pain, introduced the invention of a double, a visual imitation of the original, a consolation to evade confronting the irreparable wound of time, creating the presence of an absence. Much earlier in Altamira, the trembling light of cave fire must have thrown silhouettes over rocks that someone filled with ochre, ash, and bloody hands from the hunt. Even before fire, the sun invited humans to embrace an opaque duplicate world when they discovered their own shadows thrust over earth, or the silhouette of a flying bird over sand. And as moving light changed shapes stretched by sunset or disappeared under cumulus clouds, it projected its first facsimile, shadows. Okay, so and I'm going to read the other one, which is about light. And I think that light is extremely important, and the inner light and the outer light kind of affect each other we influence the outside and the outside influences us. And this is about the light in the different seasons and how it affects us. And I use a point of reference in the Mediterranean and the coast of Spain, which I love, a place called Denia. And I'm looking at the blues from there and the light. Seasonal light over the same blue spot. Spring blues. Crystal from an ancient Roman vase fills the air. On my hands, a glass of jasmine tea, already cool, reflects on the edge of waves, rolling over golden silica. Small children take their clothes off before drawing with a weather stick names on the sand to make them last forever. The breeze carries the scent of iodine and fried calamari. The sky, a Virgin Mary's mantle, blue mantle, invites the mind to distill cosmic dreams. There is a reason why Easter beckons to rejoice kissing, rope jumping, kite flying, expand lands with sons of Renaissance, while flowers open up infinite doors hidden in the heart of the sea. Summer blues. Excuse me. I imagine the word radiant comes from ray. Sun rays hitting objects with incandescent force, short of melting them. A cave containing the full spectrum of light falls glaringly over geography, burning the edges of paper-thin skin hidden for months under woolen, cotton, and artificial fibers. Without sunscreen, layers peel in semi-transparent tears, flames barely avoided. It's time to enter the colored sea, vibrant with silver and golden undertones, depending on the hour, blues ever present. Splendor hurts the eye. Shrubs squat as close as possible to the ground, cracking underfoot easily. The mirage completed with dizziness of desire burns even hotter than the sun rays. Fall blues. From the door, I searched the blues from my youth, which were many. The heat of August sails away over a round horizon. Light offers shade to pine trees, no longer trampled by the sun. With October's arrival, I stopped squinting at the sky above torsos of fishermen, straw hats, espadrilles. At the shore, the spumous sound of a playful sea keeps my toes cool, my heart burning slowly with nostalgia. Winter blues. From where I stand, I see the naked summit of El Mongo. Light leans on, gradually warming aromatic shrubs, rosemary, thyme, lavender, oregano, chamomile. Seagulls suspended at mid-air add a seaside postcard to the view. I don't look at the sea, murmuring frothy lullabies on my back. Salt, iodine, and blues meet in the fragrant air I breathe. I don't look at the sea for fear that if I turn my face to face it, churning waters will conjure a sunken ship, and I too will cease to exist before I'm ready. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let's go back to the main screen. Oh, you see everybody. Very nice. That was very lovely and good to follow with the screen. So it's good to see the poem. So we have a next poet in a row, which is our own poet laureate of Sunland-Tujunga, Alice Perot. Alice, it's your turn. You have to unmute. So, now you should be on. After Alice will be Toti O'Brien, then we have Diane and then Pamela Singer. So these are the next couple of poets.
Hi, everyone. This is from my manuscript, Shadow Carving, which will find a home one day when I decide to send it out. Time Exorcist. I asked an exorcist to exorcise me of time. I wanted to ride in between the places where I thought time was, or maybe stretch it out or plop in between the spaces where I thought time was. But first, I had to rid myself of old, stale, stuck bit and pieces of ancient time. So I hired this guy with a lot of clever noises and chants, you know, the kind who knows how to pull a bad spirit out of you. And he waved and jumped and made mad motions all over and around me. And these bits of time fell out of me like rattling chunks of metal junk, dropping and clicking and clanking all out of me. A huge clatter of clinking clutter falling like broken bits of stars and rusty spacecraft from a billion trillion lifetimes falling into a fiery heap and melting into nothing. Now, I was free to make my own time, and it was pure and simple, placing particles in space and jumping in between here and there, wherever I pleased. And now, I'm right here, looking for you, hoping you'll find me.
Mhm. Very lovely. Looking forward to knowing more about the book. It's really
Very, very exciting reading, Alice.
Oh, my pleasure.
all right. Very nice. Now we have Tati O'Brien, artist and poet.
I would like to share the screen too, so that my accent is not in the way. Can I?
Yes, it's multiple participants option, so everybody can.
Yes, I can. Perfect. So here we go. I don't see it anymore, but you probably do. Do you have it?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so my first is called Ballerina. They kept her for long hours, standing on a small chair, so her eyes would be level with theirs, pupil into pupil. They asked her all the questions for which she had no replies, secrets you never told her. No, she murmured, no, meekly enduring the torture. But later she had her fill. Briskly she grabbed her skirt at the edges, both sides. She held it up and started her mad zapateo. The skirt swelled, became large like a tent under which 4 campesinos could hide from the farmer, though it was never worn in a field. 4 boys on the run could abide, quietly breathing the damp warmth of no secrets. Skirt of heaven and hell, matrix of all secrets. Thank you. And my second is Odd Bird. Deep green of the mangrove, nest of shade, cupped hand, branches like fingers, a release of pelicans in the sunset. Why do you say breathtaking each time a flock scatters in concert? Expansion of rib cage, inhale, hold, exhale. Something about joy is centrifugal, overflowing like foam from a bottleneck, firework, fountain, cascade of confetti, rice thrown over a bridal train, shine on shine, a sparkling exuberance, fluttering of 1,000 feathers. Angels don't exist, but birds do. Some of happiness happens, and that part is brisk, sudden. What remains of happiness is. Thank you.
Really nice. Thank you so very much. And now we move on to Diane Vanstone. Uh-oh, we don't, oh, we have mute still, so,
Okay,
oh, that's good
got
now.
out that one. I have two poems I'd like to read. I'm a gardener, and this first one is called Petunias and Artichokes. Pink petunias comfort without attempting to preach. When the blossoms, loosened by wind, quiver, or the petals or the stamen whisper, then release, the garden becomes silent as soil-skilled hands reach upward to pick a bouquet. The last savory taste, artichokes deftly peeled down to stem, taken with wine in a communion of simplicity, and your fingers as loving cook, infused with garlic, kissed by my claret lips, trembling, with the buttery aftermath of the slide of tender leaf, satisfying appetite from garden to palate. And this next one is called Statuesque. After raking leaves, jagged balls from liquid amber trees, and a memory of feathers, the concrete statue came into view. Bought on clearance after my ex left, this angel of grief with her arms and wings folded in despair, and her head hung in such sadness. My sons told me it looked like a tombstone. Back then, I said it was a monument to loss. Bullshit, I think now. His leaving was the door to opening my life, my needs. His smile was as toxic as his words when he drove away. I dragged the statue to live in front of a flower bed. She can represent all the time wasted when women cry over men who are not worth the salt of their tears. How would I pose for a statue? Arms uplifted in gratitude, perhaps folded at the heart in grace, maybe even a disco move or raising an arm to a stylized yop. I no longer wear a dress of muted brooding colors. I am electric zinnia bursts, confident in my place at the garden, at the table. I have found my voice, and the dawn light comes as it will. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Very delightful. Arms raised in gratitude. Good idea for everybody, every day. There is Ambika with her arms in gratitude. Very nice. So our next reader will be Pamela Singer, and after Pamela, we hear from Ambika Talwar, and then two of our founders of Village Poets, Dorothy Skiles and Marlene Hitt. So we have 4 poets in a row. Okay, so let's hear from Pamela Singer. Is she still muted? Let me ask to unmute. Okay, you're still muted, Pamela. Look at this. Maybe you have a little mute button on the top of a keyboard.
You hear me now?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's good.
Okay. All right. I just want to, I picked this poem because about, I don't know, 6 or 7 years ago, I met Nancy at a workshop that the great master Diane DePrima was giving. And I got up my courage to ask her. I revered her since my 20s. She was it for me. And she accepted me as a one-on-one student, which was probably the greatest honor I've had in my whole life, maybe. So this is she died recently. And this is a poem I wrote coming home from working with her about 6 or 7 years ago. It's called The Master for Diane DePrima. 1. The master spoke about, well, I should say the beginning of this poem are my sentences, but they also reflect the things that Diane was telling us. 1, the master spoke about love from the great gray sky, hatred from gnarled mines, steel and straw, pain that transforms like light in a cave, spoke about joy not to be trusted too long, sadness from the broken wings of birds, fear from the breaking earth. She spoke about guilt and despair from ego and smallness, hope that comes from animals and stars, wisdom from palimpsests, runes and bones. The master spoke about conundrums that never give up, always there. She turned my mind inside out till nothing remained but tones and open spaces. 2, I left her home after 2 hours studying with her, lost in San Francisco, breathe, 19th Avenue traffic, breathe. I knew a slowing down had to come, but not the way it came, not sound that cut the night. 3, after 3 hours on 101, I thought I took back roads home, but didn't, just thought I did. Because the car accident happened Highway 116 and Llano Road, I knew it wasn't just an accident, that something huge had broken, not just my body, but my other self, the self that came from the sea, the self that came centuries ago, something lost, something crashed open like a murdered doe under pines, her body pulled by roots, speaking of the shining world below, the master's voice, a waterfall.
Beautiful tribute, very lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
She will always mean a lot to me. Yeah, thank
Very
you.
nice. Beautiful poems. All right, so it's time for Ambika Talwar.
What a gorgeous afternoon. I've just been sitting and feeling the words and the heart. I'm going to read a poem I wrote a long time ago. I just had fun with it, taking off on all the people saying the world is flat. So this is Whose World is Flat? Flat Earth, flat world, whose? Yours, really? I walked on it one sunny Sunday sans a shoe, found myself rolling off a curling edge to land on a curved moon. No flat, no, not at all. Pathos of flat worlds interlaced like atoms, string universes where all planets are round. Such is the sound argument of nighttime stars. This is music. Curve your palm over your ears. World is flattish round, say some travelers who have followed stars and found an oasis of hearts. Cup of tea brims within you, sated with brew. In early dawn and twilight, the sun never sets. It rises and clips. Edges rounded by time and wisdom, tears reveal pointillist delight. Atoms disappear into themselves. World is not flat. No, even an argument curves around a point. Is the point flat? Science in a conundrum played by a dilettante cannot fathom mad mystic's inner smile. See? Our spiraling earth discovers cord hearts, growing acorn, cashew, roundish oranges. Simple. Is a smile flat? Skins ridged with experience of sunspots, colors. Smiles cannot be flat, for world is rotund, proud of unflat wisdom, swirl around suns, moons that ache for light. Storms in cosmos, storms in teacups, strings of my body, oof, never flat. Nothing is flat, not my body, not yours. Even unperceived surfaces contain curves, depths, life and death. Ache ripples through timelines. How can world, any world, be flat? The universe, my love, is a multitude of ringed galaxies whose longing streams from strings of a perfect dulcimer. Play your fingers on them. Music encircles your cosmic eyes. Straight line is a curve. Your almond eyes turn dark as star-trilling night. My curved fingertips caress your face. This unflat world is mine.
Lovely. It reminds me, I was watching on
beautiful.
YouTube lectures of the flat earthers, and the proof is that there's 2-mile tall wall of ice all around this flat pancake of the earth. And to prove it that it's flat, you look at the flight schedules from South Africa, I think, to Australia. And that's the proof, the timing on the flight schedules. It's the most hilarious thing. These people are very serious, and it's really fun to enjoy the conviction that indeed they believe that's true. So that was a very cute, lovely poem. Okay, so our next poet is our founder of Village Poets, Marlene Heath, the first poet laureate of Sunland-Tujunga. There is Marlene. Uh-oh.
Hello, I unmuted. Hello to Dorothy. I didn't get a chance to see her. But two of us chose to write about a shadow. So I wrote about a person in shadow. Her profile is hanging on the wall. Light is to blame, makes strangers of living faces. When I speak to her, it is not to one I know, but to a dark outline which takes on my own interpretation. There was once a time when we looked into each other's eyes and smiled, a time when we looked at each other's faces to see tears, such mystery. The shadow has no eyes, there's no voice, no one to hear me, and I have such longing. I see a shadow pouring morning coffee, peeling vegetables, spreading butter on bread. I see her on my right and on my left, beside me and inside my head. It is the light that brings her back, yellow-faced, eyes down, concentrating, but not on me. I wish for full sun. Will it matter? Her shadow has formed a silhouette, a part of the wall, a dark gray profile. That shadow shall never fade.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you very much, Marlene. So the next one is Dorothy Skiles, also one of our poet laureates of Sunland-Tujunga, organizers of these readings.
This is a prologue real quick. In 2015, I took a trip with my husband to Normandy, France. This is very special for me, knowing that my dad was in the second wave over 70 years ago, having passed since the invasion of France by the Allied forces on June 6, 1944. Dad was in the US Army Operation 795. He was transportation, tanks, trucks, and all that kind of stuff, and landed on Utah Beach on July 13, 1944. My father passed in 1987. But when we went in 2015, I wrote this letter to my dad. Lots of cornfields along the way to Normandy. I'm thinking of you today in this place. It was a dark time in history. The invasion was so necessary for the liberation of Europe. When I was growing up, you didn't talk about the war, and much of what I learned was from my mom. I don't think you wanted to have that kind of a conversation with us kids. I do remember one thing you told me that I never forgot. You saw hundreds upon hundreds of dead American boys on the beaches, many no older than 18 or 19. You felt you were one of the lucky ones. You said your time was not up. Even back then, I could tell none of this was easy for you to talk about. Why these boys had to die so young, while you, being a man of 30, made it through. You would be pleased to see the cemetery now in all of its beauty. in all of its pride, in all of its sadness. It is truly a sacred space for so many who fell fighting their way to Paris. I spent the whole time there walking through the cemetery, row after row, reading the names, the dates on the white crosses, on the white stars of David. So many died the summer of 1944. Dad, I have a better understanding of your words to me those many years ago. I will write all this down and leave it for your grandchildren and all the great-grandchildren, the ones you didn't meet. I am grateful. I am proud of what you did. Happy 4th of July. Love, Dorothy.
Thank you very much. That was very nice. Thank you. Good to write a tribute to people who fought for us. There was a
It's good for Memorial Day also.
Yes. Yeah. All right. So we have Nancy. Did you find your last poem yet? Okay. They're asked to. We have to unmute yourself. So you read your last poem, and then I read my poems, and I think there's nobody else. Oh,
I'll read this. Sorry, I'm always shuffling through papers. I had it a minute ago. Okay. And that last poem was really moving, and maybe this is a good follow-up. Green log of eulogy. Persistence is thinking about this. Where you have failed is extinction. The dark earth holds the wetness day after day, night turning dreams to worms. Or is it dreams stretching and inching towards the light of existence? Does persistence lie within meridians of a body, as your dear friend? Hands once busied with wood, making trellises to reach the heavens, tables to serve the bread, a picture frame of pine, with two dads and their scrawny sons by Fox Lake, awash in thin mountain sun, a frozen June moment. You catch your breath. Is extinction the wetness of mountains not climbed?
Thank you. Very nice ending to your poetry. It was just in such a beautiful voice, you know, so sensitive and delicate and attentive. I think you're very attentive to the world around you, and you notice things. You're very observant in your poetry. It's very nice to see that. And then how it was combined with your artwork, so the visual is there as well. And in the poetry is visual as well. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, everyone. I've enjoyed sharing my art and poems so much, and hearing all of you. They're just lovely poems. Thanks.
Maya, can we make announcements at some point?
Yeah, I'm not done yet. One more poems.
Okay.
I read and then we do announcement. Yes. Okay. So I thought I read today from this anthology, Blue and the Blues, which was put together by Aileen Carroll, who is a poet in Los Angeles, and she decided to do a whole anthology of poems on the theme of blue. And since I wear blue all the time, as you know me, the blue is my favorite color, I thought I sent her some blue poems. So this one is a little haiku about my mother engagement ring, which is right here on my finger. See this? You see the scratches. This is my, it was a sapphire, not a diamond in those times. So the little haiku says, love is a lifetime of scratches on my mom's gold and sapphire ring.
Beautiful.
So love is. And in the anthology, we have musicians, there's poems about the blues, but I wrote a poem, maybe some of you heard it, about going to the ocean. At one point last summer, I started going to the beach in Oxnard because the drive was easy and the beach was empty and the parking was out on the street right by the beach. So I went to jump in the waves every now and then. So I have one poem called Aquamarine. but I read it here already, and I have a champagne sundae. Moonlight, sunlight, moonlight, breeze, upside down, half moon in soft blue sky above us. It is already 4 p.m., yet so bright on the smooth, broad expanse of the beach in Oxnard, bright and sparkly, as if the whole world were champagne. We hold hands, jump in the waves of the Pacific, coming, coming, coming at us with sprays of seafoam, salty bitterness of long gone tears that will not return. I swear they will not. Each wave turns into a burst of chilled, refreshing bubbly, enveloping us in sudden saltiness, stronger than the jolt of your sweat dripping onto my lips last night in our love's endless ocean. The seawater shines with the translucent aquamarine, perfection of motion, motion, motion. We float and twirl as effervescent bursts of laughter flow smoothly, easily off our lips that know each other so well, that have known each other for years, ages even. A full-hearted, full-throated laugh of moonlight, of sunlight, of moonlight breeze, upside down, half moon, in a soft blue sky above us. So thank you very much. There was a little fantasy in blue. And now we'll have announcement. Alice had an announcement about poetry. So Alice, unmute. Okay, still not hear you. Alice, you're not there yet. No.
Give me a second. My finger is not fast enough. I'm not a clicker.
Okay, now it's good.
Enjoying the clicker generation yet.
Yes, yes.
I just wanted to remind everyone that we are having a Moon Day reading on June 13th. And our features will be Mariano Zaro and a wonderful poet from Arizona, and David Charlton. And it will start at 2 p.m. and it is on Zoom. And if you want to come, please email me. I'll give you my email address. You can go to moondaypoetry.com. I'm putting this in the chat to find out more about the features and about Moon Day. Most of you know, of course, and many of you have been our features there and a long time readers, except for some from Northern California. So I hope that some people will join and let me know. And thank you for a wonderful reading, Maya, and everyone. It was really, really nice.
Yes, it's great.
Really,
Okay. So to tell you the truth, I haven't booked anybody yet for the following months at all because I was so busy doing other things, writing 300-page book based on papers that are scattered all around my room and stuff. I want to just basically remove all these things and lock them up again in those boxes, and I don't want to see them again ever after I finish. So anyway, so we'll figure out who we're going to host next time in about a month. We haven't booked the dates yet. It's not like we had the booked dates in the Bolton Hall Museum a year in advance, so everything was on very fixed schedule. Right now it's more flexible. Try to stick to the fourth weekend, Sunday of each month. So we'll see what happens in June. Please keep your eyes open for emails from Village Poets and look at our blog, villagepoets@blogspot.com. And I would like to thank you, all the persistent ones that remain to the end with us, and especially big hands, applause for Nancy for her wonderful pleasure and the privilege to meet you today in person and hear your own poems in your own voice and see your own art. It's always very lovely. And that's the miracle of technology, that we can do it without getting in a car and driving 5 hours one way. So that's very nice. So thank you very much, everybody who read, everybody who listened. It was just so sweet. So it's just the poetry does lift us up, you know,
Yes.
our drudgery and gloominess sometimes. It's just so nice to have poets and poetry in our world. So thank you, big bow to everybody. Thanks from Village Poets, from Sonny, and we will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Maya. Thanks, everybody, for
Thank
coming.
you.
It was great.
Okay.
Great reading.
Fun.
Nancy, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yes.